The Joe Rogan Experience.
And they were talking about what they would do for a significant cultural event. Let me see if I can.
This is a new policy going into effect February 2024. Clearly defines what constitutes a, quote, sensitive event for purposes of prohibiting certain exploitative or insensitive ads and content.
Yeah, that's it.
While Google already had policies in place for ads and YouTube monetization, this expands the restrictions to Google's publisher network as well.
And so it was defined in a certain way. See if you could pull up what it actually says. Because the way it was defined, what disturbed me was that it's very blanket. A sensitive event is defined as an unforeseen or unexpected situation that poses significant risk to Google's ability to provide high-quality, relevant information while reducing insensitive content. Is that I have a concern with that?
Well,
insensitive content in prominent and monetized features. Insensitive content.
Insensitive to who?
Exactly. So open and subjective. Now, listen to this, though. Sensitive events include those with major social, cultural, or political impact, such as civil emergencies, natural disasters, public health crises, terrorism, conflict, or mass violence. So what they're saying is you must be sensitive if you're going to discuss civil emergencies, natural disasters, public health crises, anything with a major social, cultural, or political impact, terrorism, mass violence, you must now be sensitive. The thing is, like, whatever they're trying to say, whatever they're trying to do to make the online world a nicer place,
Right.
you got to be really careful with saying things like that, because sensitive is a weird term. If someone is violently opposed
to who?
Right. Also, what someone is violently
extent?
opposed to something that's happening. Like, think about one or many of the military conflicts around the world. Don't pick a side. What if someone is violently opposed to these people dying and losing their lives, and they're talking about it? Is that an insensitive piece of content that can now be censored by a new policy? Is that what it is? Or is they just going to demonetize it, which they've kind of always done?
I think this was talking about people who are making ads using their platform, not people who are hosting content on their platforms.
So say it again.
I got to admit, I'm a little lost on this one.
I think
I see.
So
what
if
you're
any of the
saying.
listeners out there are also a little confused as to...
No, it's about them having the ability to censor you.
Right.
So if you do the Ron White Show on YouTube,
Right.
which is owned by Google, if they decide that this something of whatever you're doing is in somehow or another offensive,
They would want to edit it.
I don't know what they're
I
saying
think
they
this
can
is-
and can't do.
I think it's making ads. I don't know if it has to do with the content. That's on YouTube. I think this policy content change is for people who use the Google Ads platform and create ads like this one I'm showing you right here, so that you can't abuse it.
You can't monetize it. But look how it's phrased, please. Go back to the top sentence. So look at...
Which one?
It says the updated policy provides practices including price gouging, misdirected traffic, and victim blaming during sensitive events. I'm with the first ones. Price gouging, misdirected traffic, I'm with those. But victim blaming during sensitive events, that one gets touchy. Because, like, what do we...
It's just using the ads, though. It's like making some weird ad to pop up to get you to click on something that's going to pop up on content that might be about that event or anything like that.
I understand. But victim blaming, the thing about victim blaming is you can do it both ways, right? Like victim blaming, like with Hamas and Palestine and Israel, you could victim blame on both sides. You could say the Israelis were doing this, and that's why Hamas had to attack. And then you say Hamas attacked, and that's why the Israelis are doing this, and you fucking people should have known better, and you fucking people should have known better. That's victim blaming.
Sure.
You got to let people talk.
Yeah.
And if talking looks like victim blaming until people work it out,
Then why not allow
you can't just stop people from talking. So what are we saying? Are we saying that it's just they can't monetize that? Well, then what happens is if you're not monetizing stuff, you let people know that unless they self-censor, it's going to cost them financially. Even if the ads, like say if it represents a company that is actually interested in this discussion and wants to know, like, what's the right perspective on this? Who's most informed? Who's looking at this the most correctly? If you're a company and why wouldn't you want to advertise on something where people are just talking about what may or may not be happening in the world? And if you're going to do that on YouTube, then you have to worry about you're losing your ability to make a living now. It's like, ooh, is that what happens?
I don't know.
I mean, this is just a blanket policy in case of the most egregious offenses that all people agree are terrible and should probably not be okay? But then who gets to decide that?
What happened to the frogs eating the mouse and shit like that?
Ron White, this is the future of people being able to talk shit.
All right.
That's what it is.
No, I believe that,
It's kind of the future of people being able to talk shit because this is how it goes away.
Right.
It goes away through stuff like that.
Sure.
It goes away through people deciding that something's insensitive, which is like 98% of all jokes.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to come to my you don't want to come to my show.
That's what I'm saying.
Here's their examples they give.
Okay, here's some examples. All right, violations. Okay, what is examples?
Like
Non-exhaustive
ads that-
ads that claim victims of ads that claim victims of sensitive event were responsible for their own tragedy or similar instances of
right.
victim. Okay, ads.
Yeah, it's
so it's
Google
just
Ads.
about ads.
Yeah, at least for now it is. Maybe they could switch it and be like, now all content, but
Well,
this
that's
is just
completely
talking about
reasonable.
ads.
Right.
If it's just about ads, that's
Yeah.
completely reasonable.
Right.
Yeah, I guess you should want to be able to control how fucked up the ads are. Because that's kind of, well, is it?
It's just that they're just like you can still use other parts of the internet that can still.
But you can't use
do that.
propaganda.
It's
You
just-
can't lie.
Yeah, you can't use
victim
Google
blame.
Ads, which is the biggest part of the internet advertising world.
Right. They shut you out.
Do it somewhere else. Is all they're saying.
Right.
Well, that seems reasonable.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable.
As long as they're not doing that with the actual content of the podcast. Because I do know that they demonetize. They demonetize people all the time if you talk about certain subjects. It's always been a problem.
This
and
is-
they don't do that to you, do they?
They used to do it. Yeah, they used to do it up until the time when we switched over to Spotify. They
On
stopped
their
doing
website,
it.
this is specifically under advertising policies.
Yeah.
So.
So
I think
now
it's
they
kind
don't
of
do it to anybody, or they,
no, they do it to other people. They do it to other people all the time. But they stopped doing it to us for like 3 months, like where they didn't give us any dings. We're doing the same show.
right?
I don't know any other way to do this. You
Right.
got to sit down and talk shit. It's the
Yeah,
only way to
right,
do it.
right.
If I change that for somebody that's going to censor something or I'm going to lose money, like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't change what I do.
No,
I have
no.
just zero interest in doing that.
Yeah.
And if I don't think it's offensive, then that's it. That's the end of the conversation.
And I think you're pretty sensitive.
Yeah, I'm sensitive. I try to
Yeah.
be sensitive about these kind of things. It's just, you got to let people talk. And just because people disagree with you, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with them.